Liquor sales in Brownsville are now legal and are expected to bring in a new stream of much needed revenue, but still not everyone is happy.
Plus, in honor of the 35th anniversary of his death, West Tennesseans are sharing how they remember the king.
Now, from West Tennessee's news channel, this is 7 Eyewitness News at 10.
Thunder, lightning, high winds, and hail, just some of what West Tennessee has experienced tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brad Douglas.
And I'm Kelly McAllister. The question now, is this going to continue through the night, and are the pop-up storms going to get stronger? Let's head over to Chief Forecaster Gary Pickens in the Viper 7 Storm Tracking Center for the latest. Hi, Gary.
Hi there, Kelly and Brad. Yeah, we're continuing to track these storms. Now, they are pretty strong storms. In fact, I have a list in my hand of just some, not all, but some of the reports of damage that we've had across the area tonight. This comes from up around McKenzie, near Humboldt, Milan, several other locations around West Tennessee, and they all include power outages, trees damaged. We've had reports of pea-sized hail. We've had also reports of very heavy rain. I think that's obvious when you look at fast-track radar, and high winds. So this has been the typical severe storm that we expect in the area, and it's not over yet. We still have these storms to push through the area. We have some new ones developing back across the Boot Heel of Missouri, and there's some additional showers developing over in Arkansas. They may taper off a little bit tonight, but certainly looks like the potential for this severe weather is going to go with us throughout the night tonight and then into part of the day tomorrow. Now, I think by tomorrow evening, most of this will be out of here, and our Friday night and the weekend is actually going to look pretty nice. But if you do not have a weather radio, make sure that you continue to monitor us here at Channel 7 so that you'll be able to be up to speed on any watches or warnings that are issued for our viewing area. Here's what's in store for us, first of all, for tonight. The thunderstorms are expected to continue for a while tonight. More thunderstorms expected tomorrow. But fortunately, we get a break by the weekend, and the weather's actually looking much, much better. The first look at the weather is brought to you by the University of Tennessee at Martin. We'll have more on all these storms that we are tracking across the West Tennessee area coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Gary, thank you. In just less than 10 hours, the Jackson man arrested in Kentucky, accused of trying to kill a teenager in Lincoln courts last month, will appear before a judge. 24-year-old Clinton Berry was arrested in Paducah, Kentucky almost 2 weeks ago, but was just returned to Jackson yesterday evening. He'll be officially charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment tomorrow morning. Investigators believe the 17-year-old boy who suffered a graze wound to the right side of his head in the July 30th shooting was Berry's intended target. Officers say the 37-year-old woman who was shot in the leg was caught in the crossfire. Berry was arrested in Kentucky by U.S. Marshals 4 days after the shooting.
The Middle Tennessee woman who sent her adopted son back to Russia is appealing court-ordered child support for him because she says she cannot afford to pay $1,000 a month. In April of 2010, Tori Hansen sent her adopted son back to Moscow alone with a letter that said he had violent behavior problems and she no longer wanted to be his mother. Last month, a judge in Shelbyville upheld his decision that she pay $150,000 in child support to the orphanage now caring for the child. Hansen, who currently lives in Redding, California, says she's unemployed and has no income.
When people who live in Brownsville call their city dry, they're not talking about the lack of rain. In fact, they're talking about the fact that the liquor hasn't been sold within the city limits in more than a century.
But that's about to change with the recent passage of the packaged liquor store ordinance. It's expected to bring in much needed revenue for the city, but still not everyone is happy. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Madupe Idowu explains.
I don't think anything good can come from this.
The city of Brownsville has been dry for quite some time.
I think way back before the late 1800s, early 1900s, there were perhaps liquor stores here, package stores here in Brownsville. But certainly it has been 100 years.
A newly approved packaged liquor store ordinance will soon change that.
We always look forward to revenue. We always look forward to that. Yes, this is a way for the city to generate revenue without having to affect property tax. And it's a use tax. If people use and purchase the alcoholic beverages in the bottle, then they pay the tax.
While city officials are ecstatic about the revenue for Brownsville, Some residents say they're not ecstatic about possible liquor stores heading their way.
I just see the cons far outweigh any pros that someone would give.
Pastor Tim McPherson says he's worried about the possible abuse that sometimes comes with hard liquor.
One of the initial things I think about are those who drink and drive, and just the devastation that it can bring on the innocent people.
Another concern? Young people.
Not to say that those who are manning the stores and working there would give alcohol to underage people, but just when it's closer, it's going to be much more accessible.
Despite concerns, potential store owners will be able to start applying for one of 3 spots next week. In Haywood County, Madipe Idowu, 7 Eyewitness News.
Potential store owners will be required to pay the city a $500 non-refundable fee. In the event more than 3 qualified applicants apply, then we're told the applicants will be chosen at random.
At one time in West Tennessee, cotton was king, but that's not the case any longer. State agricultural officials say Tennessee has seen its lowest level of cotton crop since 2007, and next year, even fewer acres will be planted. Instead of cotton, area farmers are choosing to plant less expensive and more easily maintainable crops like corn, wheat, and soybeans.
The main reason is because the expense and the price. It's just a very expensive crop to put in, and the price does not justify growing cotton. Actually, at today's price, you're probably looking at a loss.
Fincher tells us 5 years ago he planted 2,100 acres of cotton. This year he planted on 550 acres. He also tells us he could harvest starting the end of the month, which is much earlier than usual.
Here's a warning if you plan to drive I-40 this weekend, especially late at night. Starting tomorrow at 8 o'clock, crews with the Department of Transportation will close 1 lane of I-40 eastbound between mile markers 78 and 80 to do shoulder work. It's in preparation for repairs to the bridge near Hollywood Drive. The work will be done between 8 at night and 6 in the morning tomorrow through Monday. The following weekend, crews will close down 1 westbound lane to continue the shoulder work.
Well, good news for our wallets. TVA says it's not going to raise electric rates, at least not for the next year or so. TVA's board of directors voted today to approve an $11.2 billion budget for the upcoming fiscal year, and it doesn't include any rate increases. The federal utility provides electricity to 9 million people in Tennessee and 6 other states.
35 years ago today, the world was shocked to learn the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, had died. Many remember exactly where they were when they heard the news. The International Rockabilly Hall of Fame Museum in downtown Jackson is full of Elvis memorabilia, including the very machine doctors used to try and revive him back in 1977. Elvis was just 42 when he was found dead in his Memphis home, a day some still remember like yesterday.
And I was out on my first patrol when the news came over the radio. And it was such a shock.
We heard it on the TV in the den, and we jumped up and ran in there and listened to it, and were just shocked by it.
A candlelight vigil was held into the morning at Graceland in honor of Elvis today. Tonight, thousands attended a tribute concert at the FedEx Forum in Memphis.
Well, true Elvis fans can easily recall the King's favorite things like peanut butter and nanner sandwiches and movies at the Malco, and of course the Zip and Pippin roller coaster at the Mid-South Fair in Liberty Land. Well, today in Green Bay, Wisconsin, a replica of the Zip and Pippin temporarily stranded 17 riders after a malfunction shut down the ride. Firefighters tethered themselves to each rider and helped them walk down to safety. A spokesperson says one of the 25 safety sensors received a false positive, and that caused the ride to shut down. But it was quickly replaced, and the roller coaster was reopened. Well, still ahead, the race for the White House is heating up as both candidates continue on the campaign trail. One issue has taken center stage.
Then it just keeps getting worse for social media giant Facebook and its stock. Find out why after the break.